When I heard about this trip, I really wanted to go because I wanted to see what God was doing in other countries and wanted to be a part of something big.
Personally, I just really wanted to help people in God's name.
I signed up for the trip just to have an opportunity to go to a foreign country and to serve people who I've never met.
My first impression of Costa Rica was it was very different from the U.S.
Then once we got into the mountains and got to the town that we were staying in, it was just like gorgeous.
There was fog that would always cover the top of the mountains, and it just looked very mystical.
We first started off by painting the cemetery fence.
Painting for me was fun, actually. I really liked it.
It took us a few days, but in the end I think it really brightened up the whole street.
I think it meant a lot to the community because I think a lot of family members were there, and by the end of it, it was really pretty.
It definitely felt like an accomplishment to finally get it done.
The first night we spent the night with their lead pastor Roy, and he told us his life story and how the church developed.
Something that stood out to me was, his willingness to drop everything and just go to wherever God told him to go.
Hearing Pastor Roy's story made you realize that there has to be a God.
There's no way that all the things that happen in his life are coincidences.
God has opened so many doors for Roy, and he has done amazing work through him.
The church got a very nice, generous donation of clothes.
We sorted the clothes so we could help pass them out.
We visited a poor village that was mostly refugees from Nicaragua, and their homes were pretty much just sheet metal with wood.
I feel like I've never seen such poor living conditions.
Seeing them living like that made me realize that my problems are very small compared to others around the world.
We threw a party for the kids in the village.
I honestly loved dancing with them. It was really fun.
When we handed out clothes to them, they were all kind of like fighting over what to get.
And at first we were really excited to go do that and learn Spanish words, but once you started to realize that that's where the people lived, it was just really eye-opening.
There's a senior center at the church, and they provide food for them and just like a nice environment for them to hang out. We played bingo with them, which was really fun.
A lot of them had 3 cards out at one time.
And I'm pretty sure every single one of them cheated because I lost every time.
It was really hard to speak to them because obviously we don't speak the same language, but they loved hugs and they were really sweet.
A big part of Shalom Church is greenhouses, and they grow strawberries to sell to help out with money around the church. They also give jobs to a lot of people in the community.
Working in the greenhouse was my favorite part of being there. I honestly liked getting dirty.
We got to put down mesh liner and put these metal things into the ground, which was kind of hard work, but it was fun. We got to go play with the kids, and we played games with them, and they played 4 corners and other games.
A couple of them were a little bit nuts. There's one kid, Paco, that was very, very crazy.
Even though we didn't really understand each other, they didn't even care. They just wanted it. They would just take our hand and tell us to come do something with them.
We had a fun time playing with them. It was really cool.
Jonathan got to speak Saturday night at their youth program, and that was also really interesting to see because there were translators.
I honestly thought Jonathan's sermon was great. It was fun listening to the translations go back and forth.
Sunday morning at church, Pastor Roy spoke on stage, and even though we didn't understand what he was saying, he was a really powerful speaker, and that was cool to watch.
The church service was amazing. Everyone in the church participates. It's a completely different vibe there, and I loved the way they worshiped. I wish we could do it here.
The way that they worshiped at the church was pretty much amazing. They all sang together, and they were all praying together, and a lot of people would even go up and get down on their knees.
So before Roy started his sermon, he told everyone that it was Jonathan's birthday, and they all turned around and looked right at Jonathan and sang him happy birthday in Spanish.
We also got to do a lot of fun stuff in Costa Rica.
Shalom Church also owns an indoor soccer field that they built for the kids around the community, and we got to go play.
We had a lot of fun playing indoor soccer.
It's a really great way for the kids to have a fun and safe place to play in the community.
Ziplining was really fun. We got to see a lot of the mountains and just the area around Frajanes.
Ziplining was amazing. It was my first time.
I think ziplining was one of the best experiences I've had before, with just going through the whole, pretty much like a jungle.
So we were pretty spoiled with food there. We ate really well. We had rice and beans with almost every meal, even breakfast. And we had a different fruit smoothie every time.
We really loved having their fresh strawberries with some of our meals.
Eating at the cafe was awesome. I gained 10 pounds a day.
All the staff were really nice all the time.
Nice to feel so welcome in a community.
We had coffee time at 4 o'clock every day.
Coffee time was a very pleasant time that we had there.
Well, during coffee time, I really just drank orange juice, but I had the coffee once and it was pretty good, so.
Probably the best coffee I've ever had before.
It needs to be mandatory in the United States now, because now every time 4 o'clock rolls around, I want a cup of coffee.
Every night we got to talk about what we were taking away from being there and what we got from doing the activities during the day. And I think the thing that I learned most is that we can do a lot by starting little here in our own town, because the church impacts so much in their town, and I think that us as just like the students can do a lot.
The biggest thing I learned while on the mission trip from the church was they help so much in the community, and that was such a good thing. And I feel like that's what every church should be like, is helping out in the community.
The biggest thing I hope to take away from the trip is Roy's philosophy of giving away your extra to the community, to the people who need it.
The biggest lesson I learned was that the church needs to have a large presence in the community, and I just wanted to come back home with that same drive to be a presence in the community through Beachside.